All right, we are en route to the airport. Joanna and I are going back from Phoenix. We're heading back to San Diego. Keats, I wanted to get a quick update on your incredible knowledge on the concept of balance. There's been a lot of controversy in the last couple of years on what it is, how to train for it, should it be part of our training methodologies. Can you just kind of dispel some of the myths on balance training and what what kind of the whole controversy is in the first place?
And first off, I don't have incredible knowledge over balance. This is all information that any trainer or person could look up if they just would read and study up a little bit. Unfortunately, a lot of people in the fitness industry don't, so they just accept what other people say. So I just want to get that out of the way clear. I'm not a balance expert. I just read a lot. A balance is basically, it's just the ability to balance your center of gravity over your feet, which is called your base of support. And any activity in which you have to remain upright, or even if you're on your knees or on your hands or something, there's always going to be some amount of balance. So balance is always going to be present if you want to stay upright in whatever you're doing. If you're resisting gravity, like if you're in a zero gravity environment, it doesn't matter. So the problem with the way that it's being trained now is that people are training it like it's just a single entity. Like, oh, I'm going to train balance. I'm going to stand on balance board. I'm going to stand on a Bosu ball. Or I'm going to be really cool. I'm going to stand on a Swiss ball, which has been around for definitely more than a decade now. And it's unfortunate that people don't really know the actual science behind it. And the science shows us that balance is a totally specific thing or task. So balance is specific to whatever you're doing, and it's totally dependent on what's going on with your inner ear or the vestibular sense, what your eyes are telling you, so the visual system, and then the somatosensory system, which is all the proprioceptors and the mechanoreceptors and all the different messages they're sending in to your central nervous system at any given time. So it really doesn't matter if you get good on a balance board, because it's not going to transfer over to doing something dynamic. And then there's the whole static versus dynamic balance. Static activities don't really carry over that well to dynamic activities, and this is primarily because with static activities you're getting a lot of feedback. It's happening very slowly. There's really no such thing as totally static, because even if you're standing still, there's a little bit of sway, but it's happening so slow that you're getting a lot of feedback from those three primary systems: the visual, the vestibular, and the somatosensory. So if you sense that you're getting sort of knocked off balance, kind of, your center of gravity is moving beyond your base of support, you have time to correct it. But in a lot of sporting situations, or like a dynamic or what's called a ballistic situation, it happens so fast that you don't have time to listen to the feedback. So the feedback does you no good until after, and by then you may have already fallen or been injured or whatever. So in those cases, what you need is what's called a feed-forward mechanism, and that would be based on prior experience in which you had a similar situation and you knew like a motor pattern to choose from. That's the big problem with how people are training balance, is they're not taking into account those neurophysiological effects that have everything to do with specificity. So
okay, Keith. So let me say that again. So basically, the balance that people are training is more feedback, where they're doing stuff, where they have time to think about it, but that's not the balance we need in real life. The real balance we need is this feed-forward mechanism. Is that what you're saying?
Well, primarily, I mean, if you look at the motor control research, which obviously a lot of these trainers and coaches and people who are espousing this type of balance training are not reading it. And this stuff is widely available in just basic university textbooks on motor learning, motor behavior, and motor control. So yeah, that's basically the gist of it. I mean, people are not training specifically to what they need to use that balance for. So balance is totally specific to whatever it is that you're doing.
Okay, so we don't have a lot more time here. Can you just quickly, okay, so this is great information. What do you recommend for people to do to train that more explosive or that feed forward type of balance, like other than standing on a wobble board or a whoopee cushion or a Swiss pulse or something. Right. Apart from that, what can people do to improve this real balance, this more specific balance that?
Well, you basically just do whatever specific task it is that you want to do. You can make it more challenging by altering those three systems. So for instance, if you were doing lightweight snatches or jerks, be it with a kettlebell, a dumbbell, or a barbell, which is more of a ballistic activity, you could do some sets, hopefully not very heavy initially, with a blindfold on, which is better than closing your eyes, because then you're not thinking about closing your eyes. Your eyes can be open, but you're limiting that visual input. And so that's going to give you sort of an enhanced sort of vestibular response, which is going to maybe, and this is definitely speculative, it might enhance that feed forward in a situation where maybe your head was turned or you had some sort of a visual or vestibular problem. And like in sports, you're turning your head a lot, which is kind of moving the fluid in your inner ear. So if you were doing some more ballistic activity, you could add some head turns and things like that. You could also go off cues, have somebody do a snap or a clap. This would especially be helpful for sprint starts, which is the sport we do, starting out on the blocks. You just have to manipulate whatever the activity is that you want to be good at. And there's a lot of ways to do that.
Perfect. Awesome. Keats, thanks for your information. Until next time, we'll see you guys later. Thank you.